Jack Bartlett, Inferno Intel. What can you say about what was so special about Sunkist Wrestling?
That it was probably funded in a way that we could make sure that athletes had all the training, the matches that they needed overseas, coaches, so that everything that was necessary to be able to be competitive on the world scene, just not in the United States, but we helped them be the best in the world. And the best thing was that it was funded properly. You don't capitalize something and you go into something and purchase it, and you can't sustain it. So we were able to sustain it.
Sent a couple of guys to Pan Am this weekend. Did you ever get to go on those trips, and what were they like? And
went on a few trips, not the Pan Ams, but I've been all over the world, but like the Pan Ams this weekend, we had 4 women, I think, got gold and 1 got bronze out of 10, and Helen Maroulis was here. She had flown back. Yeah, I went to Russia a few times, Japan, all over the world. When I was president of USA Wrestling, it was part of my duties to go to the different world championships and upper level. It was fun going, but it was just wrestling. You didn't get to go out and tour and do much.
You mentioned a couple of women were really successful this weekend. Have been really successful at Sunkist. Just to name a few, Kayla Miracle and Dom Parrish. I think they both have won like a few world championships at this point. But to your point of wanting to be the best in the world, how did they? How was it working with them, and how easy did they make it to sustain being the best at their weight classes?
Well, it's always good working with them. Working with them is really just giving them what they need, and then for them to be able, we work in a 4-year cycle. So this is the Olympic year. So we're going to have the trials, Olympic trials in August, and we have to qualify the weights, and that's what they're doing right now down in Panama. At the Pan American Games in Acapulco. But the women, all the athletes, they do the Olympics, they fall off a little bit, and then they come back strong the last second out of the quad the last 2 years.
How hard was it to say goodbye to Sunkist?
It wasn't hard at all. It is once you've risen to a certain level and sustained it, it's not like, oh, he couldn't do it. We're fine. We're doing it. It's just got to the point where I'm 82 years old. 81 years old. I'll be 82 at the Olympics, and we do everything in 4-year quads. And I didn't see myself at 86 putting a lot of effort and everything into wrestling when my wife is here and our family, and it's time to turn around and put as much time as I possibly can. And obviously, when you're 82 or 81, and you're saying, do I got 10 years left? So 15, 10, 5. So it's easy to decide, well, I don't need to do this anymore. Am I trying to prove something? It was a good run, and nowadays, there's a lot of people out there willing to give to athletes, and so we're not the only ones.
What does it mean to you seeing the sport of wrestling grow?
Well, in one way, it's growing from 1,000 women wrestling when we started supporting it with Tricia Saunders to 55,000. And men's wrestling has grown somewhat, but not that. They haven't added 54,000 athletes. but to see the level that they're at, we used to giggle about how they wrestled. I mean, they were terrible, but all across the board in all the countries. Now they are as good or not better technically as the men, and I to listen to Tricia today and Sarah McMahon and all the women wrestlers. They have a different esprit de corps about them. They're very confident. Not that they're going to go out and bash you in the mouth, but they're not afraid to interject themselves into anything. So I think that's it's good, and women as a whole are going down that path.
You've been a part of a lot of big moments, winning some state titles yourself, the Western Athletic Conference, serving as president of Team USA for their first freestyle championship. Do you, over the years with Sunkist, do you have any proudest moments that stick out?
Not really. I proud moments for certain athletes, like Kendall Cross and Kenny Monday and Cale Sanderson, and seeing them attain the level that they have reached. John Smith winning 6 world championships, 4 nationals and 2 Olympics. 4 worlds and 2 Olympics. That's pretty proud to be able to be helping the best wrestler that ever lived. So but it's not, they do it. We just opened the door for them to do it. We gave them what they needed to win, but they were always champions. They just had to be the best of the best. They just need help. When I started wrestling, I was 6 of us in a car. We were eating bologna and bread sandwiches and living 6 in a room. And when we go to tournaments, so I kind of changed that, made it a little bit different.
I have a question. So, why is it important that Sunkist was a nonprofit organization, and how did it get an overwhelming amount of support?
Well, a nonprofit allows you every dollar you put in, you get to write it off. So you get whatever you would have paid taxes on, 40%. It costs you 60 cents. That's why you go to 501c3. The problem with me is that I didn't go out and raise funds. People gave, but I would always say you only can give 65%. And I know it's confusing because I just talked about 60%, but if you spend $1 million, you can only write off $650,000 in a 501c3. You have to raise the other 35%. And we very rarely did that. So there was some that it was just money that you spent, and you get to, it wasn't about writing it off. It was about what we needed to spend, and we never looked at what it did. It helped us personally. It didn't matter, but for donors that did give money, they got the write-off as a charitable deduction.
And what does it mean to you to be honored by your alma mater and to have so many people here to owe most of their successes to you and your program? What does that mean to you?
Well, you don't go out doing this for that, for people to pat you on the back. But when you get this kind of support and people coming back and saying thank you and how much a part of your life you were, it's overwhelming. It's not expected, and we did change lives. I'm not gonna, I don't know. We did change lives, and for people to say that to your face and give you a hug, and it means a lot. Unbelievable. In my time here with ASU, with Glenn McMahon and Charlie Tribble and Curly Culp and all the fellas I wrestled with, we were brothers, and and to be able to give back to wrestling, and then people come back and tell you how that you've helped them you can't measure it.
Any more questions?
How does Sunkist mold young wrestlers, and what is your dream for the future of wrestling?
Well, we had a camp and an academy here at ASU. So some of the wrestlers that you saw out there went to that, who started were in the 8-year-old level, and having good coaches at that level, and get the base blocks of is really important, and we did that. And then making sure ASU had the good coaches, and that was instrumental in getting Zeke Jones here. And so I think that's the it's important to get a good start and then follow through.